Welcome, everyone, to our inaugural episode of Season 2 of SSBills Talk as we kick off this 2025 season. Training camp is well underway. Pads went on today. Lawrence Foster alongside Dr. Dungan. How are we feeling today?
Let's just hope this Season 2 doesn't end up like The Last of Us, because it's going to get a little Wilkins-y.
Well, talk about Last of Us with people falling and dropping. Injuries, to me, kind of seem to be the early talking point on the Bills. Lots of, especially wide receiver position. How are you feeling about all these little injuries already popping up before they even start hitting?
The only ones that actually worry me are the ones to our tight ends. I don't love that Kincaid's knee is bothering him. And Bass's pelvis, hate to talk about Bass's pelvis, but ultimately, he went 4 of 8 the other day and some really easy kicks. I have to say it's because there's something, he was injured and he was shanking them, because otherwise, if we're back to, old Bass, I don't love that. So I'm not necessarily concerned, because it's not like major guys other than our tight ends, but yeah.
Well, yeah, Kincaid's is the same knee that he hurt last year. So you wonder if anything's lingering from that. And a few weeks ago, an article came out from Ty Dunn, who interviewed him and talked about how that kind of limited him last year. So it is a little bit concerning for sure to already see that knee popping up for Kincaid. Knox just getting off the list, be able to perform at practice. So injuries there. And Bass, I don't know. I went to training camp last Thursday, and Bass literally stood in one spot for about 45 minutes. Then I went to kickoffs, moved behind there, and just watched the machine do it. So I don't know if this is something lingering or what, but definitely something. Maybe we sign another kicker just preseason. He takes it easy, or that'd be something to keep an eye on, I think.
Actually, now that you say that, that makes complete sense. The fact that he would be not kicking and they had a machine doing kickoffs. I mean, if he had tweaked something and was taking the day off, yeah. So, you know what? He sucked the other day, not because he sucks, but just because of his pelvis. Let's pray for Bass's pelvis.
Pray for that, and then moving on from injuries, maybe going to amusement park theme. Keon Coleman seems to be riding kind of a roller coaster of a training camp thus far. He has stacked a couple days in a row now, but the first few days those seem to be good day, bad day, good day. So thoughts on him, second-year guy, something to be expected or something to be concerned about his up and down play?
I think it's probably partially to be expected, right? I mean, he still is only a year 2 guy, and he missed a lot of the first season with injuries. I think for us, and maybe a lot of Bills fans, is whenever we see our big receiver who can get open, drop easy passes, it goes right back to Gabe. And I think, he sort of like put us in this mindset of, oh man, like here we go. Because ultimately last year, I think Keon struggled a little bit, check that. Not struggled, but I think he had a few drops early. But later in the season, he had some really good contested catches for us. And so, I don't know. I don't want to, prop up too much, one day where he had a couple of drops, because by and large, his camp so far has been pretty good.
Yeah, he needs to be able to be a good catcher. Like you said, the contested catches is what he's going to have to do. He doesn't have the separation ability of other receivers. We got him for those tough, I'm going to have somebody on me type catches.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, maybe it's like when Josh misses wide open throws when no pressure's on him. Maybe Keon isn't a good, like he needs somebody on him to catch it. Like the drops from what I heard are like when he's actually in space and created something,
mm-hmm.
he dropped to some. We talked about that before, about how Josh seems to miss downfield throws with no pressure on him, but if somebody's in his face, lights out. So maybe something similar with Keon of he needs that body on him to use it and box out and do different mechanically catches, something like that possibly.
Yeah, and I mean, frankly, Josh missing wide open receivers is way more concerning than Keon because that's been consistent throughout his career. If he has pressure, there's no one better. Okay, he could fit a golf ball through a garden hose. All right, but if he has no pressure and the dude's running wide open, I would love to know the stats, but I bet half the time or more it's an incomplete pass.
Well, you had mentioned yesterday there's no pressure and he throws it, what goes through your mind when he throws it downfield, nobody's on him?
That it's not going to be caught. Incompletion. Yeah, no, like literally when I just was like, oh yeah, here's another incomplete pass, or better yet, whenever he just throws it deep. Like I don't get like I love Josh being a 99 overall in Madden. I don't get how his deep accuracy is 94.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me. He's yeah, that's his like I think short and medium is where he excels. If he has to throw it deep, unless he's pressured, not going to be complete.
And it's weird is like as much as he's worked on mechanics and everything throughout his career, that is still an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you see like Burrow, like every quarterback's going to miss him, but like Burrow's hitting 80% of those.
Yeah, Burrow rarely misses.
Yeah. So, and since you brought it up, we were going to save it. I was going to save it to the end, but Josh Allen, you and I have been always about the Madden ratings. The Bills getting kind of gypped on it. So Josh finally joined the 99 club today. Thoughts on our boy reaching that milestone in Madden?
I mean, I think it's awesome. You know, it's got to be the first Bills player ever. You know, you think back to, the more recent Maddens in the late 90s, early 2000s. Can't even think of a player who would have been 99 overall. So yeah, no, I think it's awesome. But on the flip side, I just wonder, okay, how many games in that until he loses it, right? Because
well, thankfully, for those of us who only play like our offline Madden, he'll be 99 forever in this game because
boom, baby,
gonna start it and never reset it if they change it back. But yeah, it's Madden is something like I think a lot of people, especially from our generation, helped their love of football. And I think back that I've used the Bills all the time, unless we're doing a like 2 or 3 person franchise where somebody can't use the Bills. But I think about all the times like I play online and have to like use Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Yeah.
So like it's nice to actually have a team that people are using the Bills now because they have Josh and all of that.
Yeah. But that being said, I think Josh is the only player that's not disrespected in Madden. Every other, I mean, I think Christian Benford and Shakir are two of the biggest ones, right? That are so incredibly low. Osiris Torrance was a 64 last year. Like yeah. Other than Josh, though, yeah. But by and large, our team is, I think, woefully underrated.
I'd really like to know like how they do that. Like, how do they grade offensive linemen? Like, what is their rubric of? All right, this team had one of the best rushing offenses in the league. They averaged 30 points a game, record for 30-point games in a row. Josh was sacked the least amount of time in his career.
Mm-hmm.
And we have linemen that played every game that are below 70. I mean, below 80, low 70s. Make it make sense.
Yeah. Well, Dion, I think I saw some. Granted, the official rankings haven't come out, but yeah, like Dion, I think is either high 80s or maybe he's 90, which doesn't make any sense. He's one of the top 10 or 15 left tackles in the league. Actually, yeah, definitely a top 10, right? So, I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter because as long as you have Josh, and as long as you and I are controlling him.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. So moving on back to actual training camp stuff. Trey White, who was after they signed him, he seemed to he's gonna be an afterthought, but he's been holding down the number one corner spot, and from all accounts, kind of looking like his old self. So We just drafted a first round corner. So thoughts on Trey White holding off our Max Hairston right now, and how you see that playing out in the coming weeks?
I love it. I, I love Trey. I would like this is one of the few times that I hope McDermott does the right thing, and if Trey's the better corner, then Trey starts. I think he will. He's it's, in a way he's almost saying, give me a reason not to play the rookie. Um, but I think like because corner is such an important spot, and Trey is a former All Pro, that if we can leave him and Benford out on an island, and they can cover for 3, 4, 5 seconds, I mean that makes the entire defense so much better. Plus, it takes a lot of pressure off Hairston. That he can come in as the dime cornerback. He can watch. He can observe. Because people don't talk about it a lot, but people always say like for rookies in the NFL, the game is fast, but they always talk about it in the context of the quarterback, right? I have to imagine corner, right, where you're used to guarding, college receivers, maybe because he played in the SEC, the best conference in college football. Maybe he has the occasional lining up against an NFL caliber receiver, but most oftentimes it's not. And so if he has to start now, all of a sudden you're playing NFL caliber receivers every single down. And so I just think it helps, in my opinion, helps him learn and grow as a player, by not having the pressure on him right away. Like, okay, you have to go out here and you have to produce right now. It's instead of it's like, all right, well, 15, 20 plays a game, you have to go out there and help out, but you're not the dude yet.
I kind of think back, if you can remember the first year where Josh made the playoffs with the Texans,
Mm-hmm.
they kind of had a cornerback rotation between. I think his name was Gaines. He ended up going to the Browns the next year, but him and another
EJ
cornerback.
Gaines.
Yeah, they kept rotating. If you remember that, like they couldn't settle on one, so they kind of had like two series on, even in the playoffs. So I'm wondering if that is something that might be in McDermott's back pocket of we need to get Harrison reps, but Trey is playing so well. What do you think about that coming back? Because it is something he has done in the past at the cornerback position, even on a playoff team.
I don't hate that idea. But it's Trey, right? Like it's he drafted him. He's been he's a not that being a fan favorite really matters, but he's a former All Pro. He's a vet. He's I don't know. I don't hate the idea. I just think that you know yeah, I don't know. I just because it's Trey, and this maybe is my own unbiased. I just don't necessarily see it. But on the flip side, right, Trey's a 30-year-old corner, so if you can get him some rest, why not?
And kind of off, but it's always fascinated me that you think about the positions that swap out, like receiver. The receivers swap out all the time. Corners, when do the starting corners ever swap out?
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of crazy to me that they're running all over, they're tackling. The receivers they're running against go off the field and take a break. They're back out there, which is also why I think Travis Hunter's in for a whole different world of what's going on in the NFL level. But that's a whole other topic.
Yeah.
Sticking on the defensive side, Bishop and Rapp have been the starting safety duo. Damar Hamlin has reportedly had a pretty strong camp as the primary backup to both actual safety positions. So, thoughts there? We talked about the safety position kind of being important this year. Bishop taking that next step. What do
Yeah.
you see happening with that situation?
I just hope that neither Rapp or Bishop get hurt. Because I think Hamlin is going to take the place of, gosh, of Dane Jackson, the dude that comes in and all we do is complain about him, right? Like that's all I see. Sure, is he a Swiss Army knife kind of guy where he can play all over the field? Yes, but like he's a dull Swiss Army knife. Okay, he's not starting caliber. He shouldn't have been starting last year. Um, and I guess it's fine for having him in a reserve role, but I just hope he doesn't have to see the field because, frankly, he just, based on his play last year, he just seems like a liability. So, yes, I just hope neither Bishop or Rapp get hurt.
Yeah, Taron Johnson, either yesterday or today, I don't remember which day he was interviewed, was talking about Bishop a lot. And so McDermott was talking about Rapp and Bishop's relationship already. So that made me think of, obviously not comparing when Poyer and Hyde came, but you think of how those two always seem to be like that connection with those two.
Mm-hmm.
If Rapp and Bishop can start building that type of chemistry. Chemistry is always talked about, I think, in the offensive sense. All right, we need to get our receivers on the same page as our quarterback, right? But the safeties have to too. They have to know what each other's doing. You're going to do this. I'm going to cover it. I'm going to maybe you take a chance. I know I got to shift over here a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's an underrated community there in that safety room of being able to know what each other's doing, maybe without even saying it. So that's an underrated piece, I think, is that relationship building between Rapp and Bishop. By the way, he looks so incredibly young. When I saw him at training camp, I'm like, man, he looks like a baby out there.
Yeah, no, and I think you're 100% right. I really do think that's what made Poyer and Hyde so good. That McDermott he brought him in. They were both pretty instinctual players, but also they knew what each other was going to do. And so I just it I think, and people say this all the time, but like the less you have to think about football and the more you can just react, the better player you're going to be. And I just think towards the mid and end of their time in Buffalo, they were just reactionary players, and that made them so good.
And I think that's what hurts Hamlin when you watch him play. He doesn't have it, like he doesn't trust. He has instincts, obviously. He's in the NFL. He doesn't trust them. He has to see something happen, then he reacts.
Mm-hmm.
When you think of like all the time, like I always think of that interception Hyde made in the playoff game against the Patriots. If he would have had to see it happen instead of instinctually knowing where to go, that play doesn't happen. And I think that's Hamlin's problem. And Bishop, while young, in what we've seen, I think he's more. I think this is going to happen. I'm going to go attack it and be aggressive.
Sure.
Which is where we can get that better impact play from the safety position, where Hamlin's more of the safe. And as we know, like playing prevent defense loses games. Playing safe loses games. If you're flat-footed, you're getting run by.
Sure.
At that position.
Yeah. No, I mean, and the best corners too, right? Like they don't read the ball; they read the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that brings us to heavy defense today. Milano seems to have regained his swagger, so to speak, through camp. Every single day when you're reading the reports from the beat reporters, it's Milano's flying around. He's making plays. He hammered somebody today in practice. How important is it for him to, if he can get back to that all-pro level this year and stay healthy?
I mean, I would argue he's probably the second most important player on our team, or not team, but on our defense. Like when he's not there, we're not nearly as good because he's such a so good at run, so good in the pass, and I mean, in a way, it's a shame that injuries have gotten him the way that they did, but. Yeah, I mean, you and I talked before, but I couldn't be rooting for him anymore. One last year in Buffalo, one last hoorah, go get to your all-pro level, get yourself a smaller second or third contract somewhere else, and leave with the Lombardi Trophy. That'd be
preferably
super.
Not in the division.
Yeah, that would be so lame.
Yeah, if he goes like Miami.
Yeah, then
That would be awful.
That's just it. I think that there's enough. I mean, and Poyer is the most recent one where like, he wouldn't want to be on the other end of a Josh Allen stiff arm or hurdle or something. No, I don't think he would.
Patriot would also be bad. Actually, I think the worst would be the Chiefs. He goes
Yeah,
and plays in that defense with friggin' Spags. Ugh. But yeah, like you said, I hope he has a fantastic year. I hope he's an All Pro because you started to see it at the end of last year when he. I think of that play where Mahomes was running out in the championship game and he was able to chase him down and tackle him for a loss.
hmm
Like that's the Milano we remember is that type of play when it really matters.
yeah.
So hopefully that's more of what's to come. But moving on from that, we have the defensive line. TJ Sanders seems to have been having a good camp. They've mentioned how big just Deion Walker is. So, from what you've read and heard, what are your thoughts on the defensive line, uh, how they're coming along and gelling?
I mean, so far I'm feeling cautiously optimistic about the guys that we drafted. I know size isn't everything, but man, Walker is a manimal. I mean, he's like he dwarfs all the dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and plus what they were saying in terms of had he come out last year, he would have been or probably a first round pick. And so he's played well. And there was one of the days where they were talking about T.J. Sanders living in the offensive backfield. So no, I mean, again, I'm cautiously optimistic because that was obviously one of the biggest issues that we had all year was just nothing out of the defensive tackles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ed didn't really do much, and so if we can bring in two younger guys that can, give us some productivity, maybe that lights a fire under Ed. That coupled with the corners, then maybe Rousseau and Bosa have more one-on-one opportunities. So no, again, I'm cautiously optimistic.
We talked about it before. These young guys have a really big opportunity, like with Ogunjobi not going to be there the first 6 weeks.
hmm
Pope not going to be. So they can show out. That opens things up for the Bills of, hey, maybe we trade this veteran to get something we need or a future pick. So the door is wide open there for those guys. And yeah, they've, like you said, TJ Sanders has been kind of the talk of the defense of just now it's going to be, can he do it with the pads on now? Because it all had been pre pads today. So this is when
hmm
you find out. But great stuff there from TJ and the defensive line. Offensive thoughts. You said you're not concerned about receiver injuries. Um, what you've heard about Palmer, Moore, and all them. Shavers was having a great camp. Thankfully, his injury doesn't seem to be too bad.
hmm
How you seeing that receiver room shaking out?
I mean, they're a little banged up, but I think more it was just some general soreness. Palmer, it didn't seem like it was going to be any big deal. Um, so yeah, I mean, sure. Would you love all the guys to be super healthy all the time? Yeah, but it's football. Guys are going to get banged up, and I think it's that's the one area where we're pretty deep, right? It gives other guys just more opportunities. Shakir is still fine. Keon is fine. Again, the only thing that actually mildly concerns me is the tight end situation.
Yeah, we already mentioned Kincaid's leg. I think it's a great chance for Hawes to kind of step up and see what he can do with Josh.
hmm
I think he's an underrated receiver. His skill set right now is blocking, which is something that we need in a tight end. So this might be another chance of, hey, this young guy has an opportunity to really make an impact. Maybe he wouldn't have otherwise, getting a lot of first reps with Josh. So I'm kind of looking at it as a glass half full of, all right, yeah, but Kincaid has a month to heal his leg up. Just let it rest. Ease Knox back in and let Hawes and Zach Davidson go at it and see what they can do.
Sure.
Because I always think of like Quentin Morris every year making a play when he had an opportunity. That third tight end has always had little little spots here and there throughout a season. So let them get their reps now.
I mean, and who knows? Maybe they make a guy like Knox expendable.
Yeah, I know you mentioned before, like his locker room presence is something that's got to be factored in. But I'm on that train of, hey, these young guys do something. He's getting Knox is getting paid too much for what he produces, in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, if Ray Davis, if he shows out and all of a sudden Cook, just put him in the trading block.
Always on that. And it's funny you say that. I read today about Cook made a move, and like that's the thing that the other two don't. Like he made a spin move in the open field that got him an extra 10 yards. Just as good as I like Ray Davis, I love Ty Johnson. But Cook just has that little extra I don't think we get with another running back. That and I mean maybe next year we get it again, but I'd keep Cook and draft somebody next year. Keep it going that way. I'm fine with that.
Or just give him the extension. I mean, come on, it's he wants 15. Just give him 12 or 13. I don't know. Like I hate that it's still a storyline.
But to his credit, like Cook is out there doing. He's not doing a Terry McLaurin. He's not doing a, Max, not Mad Max, Hendrickson.
Yeah.
He's in there doing everything he's supposed to do because he's like, hey, it's my job. So I will applaud him on that. Of he's not taking that road of being a distraction. He's doing what he's supposed to. When practice ended when I was there last Thursday, he was out there doing extra work with a couple other running backs. Like half the team had went back to get changed, and he was out there still working. So I'm glad that he at least has that mindset, because he could easily be like, all right, my hamstring's hurt. I can't practice right now. One of those, oh, now when I sign my contract, I'm magically feeling better type things.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, he's also likely seen what happened. I mean, I forget what maybe it was Christian McCaffrey or one of the major running backs. They held out a lot of the year or a lot of the preseason, and then when the regular season started, they got hurt pretty early on.
Didn't Jonathan Taylor? He held out, and I feel like he had
maybe it was him.
Really slow start to the year when he got that contract.
Yeah, it's just something about like being out there, getting some practice reps. Sure, it'll never mimic the game, but getting practice reps is better than getting zero.
Yeah,
reps at all.
Now transitioning from repping, the Bills unveiled their alternate helmet last week.
Mm-hmm.
The red throwbacks that everybody was clamoring for. Now, I'm of the belief that this was a last-minute switch because every other team had this big rollout of players in it, and then the Bills had put on a red helmet on Josh, and it wasn't actually like him with a red helmet. They photoshopped it. So I'm of the belief that it was going to be something else, and then like all the people like wanting the red, they're like, oh, crap, we should probably do this. Because they have a good social media team. And they didn't do any sort of rollout like with Josh or Shakir or Dion wearing it. It was a photoshopped red helmet on Josh.
Mm-hmm.
So good for them switching, but thoughts on the red helmet coming back only for one game, though. The last one at, I'm going to call it the Ralph.
I mean, it's exactly what you said. I think they were trying to save it all for like the, opening of the new stadium. Like, I will not be surprised whatsoever if the Bills, break out the '90s uniforms like at the first game of the, of the 26 season. I like it. I mean, it's cool because it's new, right? I mean, because when was the last time they wore the red helmets, right? Like, wasn't that the early 2000s?
Yeah, because you and I went to the uniform reveal of when they switched to the white.
Yeah.
And that would have been when I was in Roswell.
And so,
like 14, 15 years.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. Like, when I became a Bills fan, they sucked. and they were wearing the red helmets. I don't have any memories as a kid watching the Bills kill it in the red helmets.
Mm-hmm.
And so, frankly, when I see red helmets, I'm just like, oh, here we go again. You know what I mean? Like, I
And those
get,
uniforms are awful when you became a Bills fan.
yeah, no, those like navy blue ones with the
Yeah,
JP Lossman uniform, yeah.
awful.
But so I guess like that's why I think it's cool because it's new ish, right? But on the flip side, my memories as a becoming a Bills fan in 2001, or that was the first game I ever went to. Most of my red, not most, all of my red helmet memories are we suck. So good for the fans, but for me, I don't really care.
Yeah, I like the red because aside from Kansas City, nobody else has it. It's a little unique. But I think the Bills uniforms are great as they are right now.
Yeah.
It's very clean look.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it's more for the older generation, like you said. I think they might do a uniform change next year. Like go back to what it used to be.
And the
Kick out,
night, yeah, sure, 100%. I could totally see that happen.
but yeah, just something to get excited about. And then August 28th, the Bills will reveal their rivalries uniform. You mentioned kind of like maybe looking like a White Walker.
Sick.
So, what are you hoping for out of that?
So I was actually just trying to see it because I thought it was July.
I'm sorry. No, yeah, it is August, right? Or did I say that wrong?
No, I thought it was July, but you're probably right.
But it all depends on how it ends up looking. Like the all white could look really good or really bad. It just depends on what's accent. Like, what are the accents of it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was cool that they what's call it, that they sort of gave like a White Walker look to Josh, but then I've seen some mock-ups based on sort of the change in the color of the logo that they hinted at, and I don't know. If it's like a silver, I don't know. I just have a feeling I'm going to be disappointed.
Yeah, and they're wearing them early in the year too, I believe.
Yeah, week 5, I think.
Yeah, so
So it's not even cold.
right. Well, it could be in Buffalo. I never.
What? It's in October.
Yeah.
It might be a little chilly, but like it's not December. I don't know. It's as you said. Our uniforms now look so good that most anything is a downgrade.
Yeah. I remember. I think S Sports Illustrated always does like a uniform ranking, and forever like we were the bottom three. When we had the stupid, like you said, the red helmet, navy with this like the shoulder pad of a different color, and then we switched to the whites, and we're always in the top five.
I think our blues look awesome. Like I love our blue jerseys
Yes.
and white pants.
Yeah, I think that's a very very good look. It'll look very good hoisting the Lombardi Trophy.
Um, if yeah, right, we gotta go blue and blue. Let me
Oh,
see.
that'd be going back to the Smurfs. So, any closing thoughts or things you're looking forward to this coming week for training camp? Because pads are on now, so things are getting real. Just closing thoughts on what we have to look forward to moving forward.
I mean, Keon continuing to make contested catches. Um, the just the tight ends getting healthy, and it'd be nice to see some highlights of Knox or Kincaid doing something in camp, because it just seems, granted I know they're injured, but it's just a continuation of last season where um, people were not people Knox and Kincaid weren't there for most of the time, and 12 personnel was touted as it's supposed to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then on the defensive side, again, just continued push from our defensive linemen. Um, Yeah, that's it because ultimately those were the areas last year that were problems, the tight ends and the D line.
Now I'm looking kind of at the quarterback backup because Mike White has been having a really good training camp. So, like, seems like there might actually be a battle for who's going to be the backup, whether him or Trubisky.
Mhm.
And they're saying like Trubisky last. I remember last preseason, he just didn't look very good. And like Mike White has been tearing it up in camp. So I'm looking forward to seeing now the pads are on and like, can he continue? Like, is he going to push Trubisky off the roster? So just that'd be an interesting thing to look at. And like you said, continuation in the defensive line. Now the pads are on. Can they keep making the plays they were? Well, I remember like everyone always talked about, oh, wait till pads get on, right? When we had football practice back in the day, wait for pads. Well, the pads are on now. That's when it really happens.
Yeah.
So all can they make the plays now that they're actually going to get hit by the other people? And Hard Knocks is coming up next Tuesday. Is
I mean,
episode
actually, yeah,
1.
that'd be sick.
So Josh already said that he's had to alter his trash talk, babe, because he doesn't want his mom to hear some of the stuff he would normally say.
Ah,
And I watched a clip today where he found out on his birthday they were going to be on Hard Knocks, and he wasn't very happy about it. But he said it's a good chance for people to see who they are as an organization and to get to see some of the people, like players, maybe they would never get to see their personality. So he seemed more excited for what it can do for his teammates than anything else.
yeah, I mean, because everybody knows Josh, but they don't know really anybody else like that. And that's frankly why the Madden ranking, getting back to Madden, nobody knows anybody. People have seen highlights of Shakir being the pinball, right? They've seen Cook break a run. They've seen, but like nobody on the Bills roster is a household name, and so I think it will do a lot of good for the other guys.
I think Trey White being back he'll be good on Hard Knocks. He has that personality
Yeah, he does.
that like I think he's going to be somebody who shines.
Hmm.
Deion Dawkins, we know as a personality. I think he's going to kind of be a breakout person. And I'm interested to see Joey Bosa because he's talked about how like he's already hung out more with teammates than he did in his last few years with the Chargers. Like just the camaraderie of the team, he said, is way different than what he's experienced.
Hmm.
Maybe he starts to come out a little bit, and
I just hope he stays upright.
yeah, and they're taking it easy with him. He's like already had a few let's kind of hold him back type days, which is smart.
I know, but still, like that's worrisome.
And it isn't anything of injury; they're just trying to prevent it. Because Sean said, like when we signed him, like he's like, we have a plan for what we think we can do to keep him healthy. So
Yeah, and maybe he's sort of a Rousseau type guy where he's good against the run and pass equally. But even in the years that he's healthy, he's not a high sack guy.
no. Ainsley asked, "Is he a lateral move?" I think if he's healthy, he's an upgrade over Vaughn.
Yeah, as do I.
But if he's not, then no. Although Vaughn year 1 was actually doing stuff, then he ripped his knee up and then was never the same.
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome if that happened again.
Which part? Him doing stuff or him
Oh,
turning it
if the first season Vaughn does, like always wrecking, we're like, yes, we actually have a pass rush, and then he gets hurt in November.
Yeah.
I remember Bob Sanders. Like people joke, but like I would have seriously never let him play until the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because that's almost how I want to treat Bosa. I'm like, all right, we're not going to have you do anything. You're just going to keep working out, keep in football shape, and we're going to have you ready for January when that comes around.
But ultimately, I mean, in a way, though, for him, he's got to be more stressed out than us because ultimately he knows if he gets a major injury, another big contract, he can waive that goodbye. Like he's got everything on the line here. Like if he wants to get another, year or two of making 15, 20 million a year, he's got to play the entire season and he's got to be productive.
And I think that's why his brother wanted him on the Niners,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone thought he was going to go to the Niners. I think he chose the Bills because he sees, hey, this offense puts up 30 a game. I'm going to get a chance to rush the passer quite a lot. I don't think he saw all the departures from the Niners, all the injuries. I don't think he thought he'd get that opportunity with them.
Sure.
So I think he was smart and was like, hey, I'm going to get to rush the passer maybe 10 more times a game and get my contract number up.
And on top of it, because I think they said the Niners offered him 8 and we gave him 13. I mean,
money too.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of fun stuff coming up. This is our kickoff episode of the second season, our first in-season season. Season 1 concluded like a month ago.
In season.
Yeah.
Got him.
We'll be back every week talking Bill stuff. Next week will be the final week where we don't have a game to analyze or look at. So looking forward to that. Football is back Thursday with a Hall of Fame game. I'll watch probably the first quarter and be like, oh, these guys suck after that. But at least the first quarter, like, football is back, baby.
It's Chargers and who else?
Lions, I think.
Question mark?
I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Let's see. Who can get the answer first?
I have my phone on the break I'm in, so I don't know. It is Lions. Chargers, Lions. I was right. I just remember because they were the first 2 to go to camp, and it's because they had the game earlier than everybody else.
Right.
But it was fun to be back, everybody. We somehow turned that into a 43-minute show.
Do the best.
You're all welcome. So for Dr. Dungan, I am Lawrence Foster. Ainsley Dungan in the comments. Maybe she'll be back with us next week. Who knows? We always close it out like Josh does with everything by saying, go Bills.
Bills.